Hello friends, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to share with you some cheap, easy recipes using chickpeas. If you saw my last video, it was a quick $3 dinner and I used chickpeas as the main ingredient and I made a lot of extra, and I shared with you guys that today I would share the recipes that I am using those extra chickpeas for. Now these are two brand new to me recipes and I want to see if they pass or fail. I found these on Pinterest. One recipe, I actually just looked at the picture, so it doesn't really necessarily get a full grade from me, but one recipe I just looked at the picture and was like, ooh, that looks like good inspo, I'm gonna make something like it. And then the other recipe, I tweaked a little bit based on what I have on hand, my likes, my preferences, and we're gonna see if it passes or fails. So you'll have to stay tuned to see what I think, if they pass or fail, at the end of this video. Ingredients for recipe number 1: maple syrup, vanilla, baking soda, nut butter, pumpkin pie spice or cinnamon or both, 1/4 cup of instant oats, 1.5 cups of cooked chickpeas. That's 1 can. Make sure they are drained. They don't have to be rinsed. And lastly, 1/2 cup of milk or water. Putting everything in my Vitamix. If you don't have a Vitamix, you can definitely use a food processor. You can even mash these with a fork if you want to, but this is a method that I'm using. I think a regular blender will be just fine as well, as long as it's high speed. I did tweak this recipe and I will leave in my blog post down below what I did, but I'll also leave the link for the original recipe so you can kind of see what I did, and if you want to change things up or leave it as is. But let me know, what do you think, pass or fail? And then comment and reply back to your comment and let me know if you're right or not. So I was a little bit iffy on these because I feel like sometimes chickpeas just like don't taste the best when they're sweet, and honestly these were so good. I would not leave out the pumpkin pie spice because they were just so fallish. Loved them. I was like really on the fence and I was like, ooh, I don't know, but they were really good. The other thing I wanted to say is if you have a much better pan than mine, you don't have to use cooking spray. I'm using avocado spray because I just knew they would stick and I don't want that in my life. But I also cook them a couple different ways. I'll explain here at the end, but I cook some for like 1.5 minutes each side, some for 2 minutes each side. These are ones that were 2 minutes each side, and then another one for just like a little less than 2 minutes, because I wanted to see when I tried them if like the texture was different. And I also plan to reheat these up later on in the week, and sometimes like the perfect pancake to me is like the medium cooked one. I know that's weird, but with different textures in this, I wanted to make sure it was cooked enough. So I really like the medium cooked pancake the most, as I thought I would. But if you have a great pan, you probably don't need to spray it. I just know my pan. I know that I'm not about to clean up a huge mess when making pancakes. So this did make about 20 pancakes, and I feel like that's a really good batch. And I know that you could definitely make these ahead like I did and have them to eat throughout the week. Do these pass or fail? These are a pass for me. I tried a little bit of the batter and then also a little bit of the pancake that had broken off on the spatula. 100% a pass. I would say it makes about 20 pancakes. I'm gonna finish the rest up. I would meal prep these and throw them in the freezer. They're nice and light, so I cook these a little bit extra so you can kind of see. These I cook the least amount per the recipe. This is my happy medium and this one is a little bit extra, but they're so nice and light. You could take them with you. They're amazing. I highly recommend. If you don't like maple syrup, like I really don't love maple syrup, you can't really taste it. It just adds a tiny bit of sweetness. The recipe also, I think, says to do a drizzle of nut butter and maple syrup mixed together on the top. Honestly, I would just eat them like this. Maybe with a little bit of yogurt. I think that is so good. And strawberries with these. I mean, these are phenomenal. Highly recommend. This recipe was a pass for me. Also, in case I didn't already say, you can find this recipe linked down below, the original one. I will type out what I did and put it on my blog, but highly recommend. I mean, I'm excited to have these. I made some for breakfast this morning. Like I said, I'm gonna make the rest and then I will put the rest in the fridge and we can have them for meal prep. If you have a griddle, I would actually make a ton of these and put them in the freezer because they're gonna hold up really well. Just depending if you like them lightly cooked, medium, or kind of extra well done. Here's kind of your example of all three. Enjoy. Okay guys, will this recipe pass or fail? This one I'm just going off of the picture because I'm like, ooh, I can make something like that. Great inspiration. I often do that a lot on Pinterest and I use what I have. So I encourage you to do the same. So you're gonna do some kind of wraps. Also, you can make this in the air fryer or the oven. I'm doing oven, so I'm doing a glass baking dish, but you're gonna need some wraps, whatever you choose, whatever you like. Also gonna need some chickpeas. I'm using about 1.5 cups again. I think I have about 2 cups left. Again, drained but not rinsed. I made these in my pressure cooker, and so they have a little bit of aquafaba with them. You're also gonna need something for the inside. These are a buffalo stuffed wrap. So I'm using sriracha. You could definitely use Frank's or buffalo sauce or even barbecue if you don't like spicy. I like to tone it down a little bit with something briny. So I'm gonna use mustard and my favorite thing in the world right now, banana peppers. I also have this sitting out because this is how I'm choosing to combine everything together. I don't want to mash everything with a fork, but you definitely can. You're just going to stuff your wraps. I wish I had like onions on hand, like red onion and celery. I think that would be really, really good. And then also to top these, I would top them with like a drizzle of Frank's, the buffalo sauce, and some lettuce. Serve some rice on the side. But I'm making this ahead for dinner later in the week. But let's see if this recipe will pass or fail. I'm gonna guess this is gonna be a pass because this already looks amazing. And to have like a crunchy wrap that is stuffed with chickpeas, like I'm here for. All right, the first thing I am going to do is get chickpeas into this food processor. I always have this link down below. If you want something that's handy dandy and you can just throw this 2 seconds in the dishwasher or just rinse it, highly recommend. I use this more than my large food processor. My only regret is that this is not a little bit bigger. And then this you just charge and zap it. It's cordless, which is really nice. I charge it like once a month and I use it almost every single day. Like I should use this instead of cutting and chopping all together, but like I don't until I do. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's my best friend. So it should fit about 1.5 cups of chickpeas in here. It doesn't really matter the amount. I just don't want like a lot of stuffing. And then any extra chickpeas I can just throw on a salad later this week. Pressure cooked beans are my favorite, but I don't always take the time to make them because convenience is my best friend. If you don't like sriracha, you could use barbecue sauce or Frank's or anything else. I happen to love spicy, so I'm probably putting about 1.5 tablespoons in here. It smells so good. To cut back on a little bit of the heat, you can always add some mustard, or if you're just obsessed with mustard, add that too. Like I'm just trying to add a lot of flavors. And as you can see, I'm not adding anything like garlic or salt or anything. I'm just doing simple, but you can use anything you like. This thing is so easy to use. I just wish it came in a bigger size. Then I could get rid of my large food processor. All right, I rinsed this bowl. Didn't bother washing it because this is just gonna go inside of it. Okay, I'm going to stuff my tortillas, and I did spray this with some avocado spray, just personal preference. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's totally up to you. But we're just gonna put like a little bit in here because I want to roll these tight to make them crunchy. And then I'm also gonna put a couple banana peppers in the inside. I just feel like this is making my mouth water and it's gonna be so good. So then just roll them up nice and skinny like this, and then put them in the pan. Okay, you're gonna throw this in the oven at 350 until crispy. I'm gonna say like 20 to 25 minutes. If you don't wanna make these right away in the oven, you can just pop this in the refrigerator with some foil over it or pop a lid on it. You can also put these in the freezer. Again, a great freezer meal. I'm sitting here hanging out, waiting for recipe number 2 to get done baking so I can give it a try. I'll take a tiny bite and then save the rest for my lunch today and tomorrow. But I think this is another recipe based on the tiny taste of chickpeas that I had that you're going to have to bulk meal prep and make a lot of. And I'm pretty sure the filling would be fantastic in the freezer. If you're wondering why I'm looking for freezer meals so much, is because it's getting to that time of year where I feel like I can finally use my oven every single day, and I'm obsessed with freezer meals once it's that time of year because it's just easy. You pull everything out, everything's done, and then you make a great meal in so little time. I would actually love to know, do you want to see a freezer meal video from me? I would happily make one, but you have to let me know down in the comments below. I've made a few here that are just freezer meal preps where I just take all the ingredients and cut everything and put the meals together and put them directly in the freezer. But let me know if you would like one of those. I will gladly put one together as I am scoping recipes, trying new things, and getting my freezer ready for winter. The last little thing I want to share with you is how I make my beans in the pressure cooker. So I have a pressure cooker, not an Instant Pot. They're basically the same thing, but mine is a 4-in-1. I will link it down below if you want to check it out. But you can use a pressure cooker, Instant Pot, crock pot, or stovetop. Making your own beans is so inexpensive and it'll save you so much money. And then anything you don't use, you can go ahead and store in the freezer. So I do 6 cups of water per 1 pound of beans. Also, I just want to let you know, if you want to check out my ebook sale, you can get 5 ebooks for $5. There's a link in the description box. The sale goes until Saturday. Okay, I honestly am a little bit surprised that the first recipe, the pancakes, was a pass for me. I thought for sure it was going to taste just not great because chickpeas, I feel like sometimes is not a good sweet ingredient. I have used it for cookie dough before, but I tend to not go back to that recipe time and time again. But this recipe is so good. I hope out of the 2 of them, it's the recipe that you try first. I am so glad that you stopped in to hang out with me today. Make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss a new video by me. I will see you Saturday in a brand new video. Bye-bye.